Now I will be discussing second concept in the second unit, demonstrate to create, compile, link and execute a C++ program. Now, developing a program in the C++ requires following four steps. The pictorial representation of four steps are given in the flowchart or diagram. Now let us see four steps to develop a C++ program. Now first step is creating and editing a program. Creating and editing a program. Second step, compiling a program. Third step, linking a program. Fourth step, executing a program. Now let us see all these steps one by one. All these steps one by one. Now first step, creating and editing a program. This is the first step, that is creating and editing a program. First we write C++ program using text editor such as Turbo C++ editor or Borland C++ editor. Save program by using .cpp extension. Next step, file is saved with the .cpp extension is called source program. File saved with the .cpp extension is called source program. Now let us see the program which we have seen in the previous class. Now this is a C++ program. We have to open an editor and we have to write a program like this. We have to write a program like this. Next we have to save this program with .cpp extension. Now let us give some name to the program like A, D and D. This is the name of the program. Now let us see extension dot, next cpp. Because we have written this program in the C++, so here we have to give the .cpp extension. If you write the program in the C language, then we have to give the .c extension. If you write the program in the C++, then we have to give .cpp extension. Next, so this program is called what? Source program. This program is called source program. Now let us see this creating and editing program by using flowchart. Now let us see flowchart. Now this is the first step. First we have to create the source program by using any editor. Second step. Let us go to second step. Compiling a program. Compiling C++ program. C++ source code with .cpp extension is given as an input to the compiler. Means here the program r.cpp is given as an input to the compiler. The C++ program can be compiled by using Alt F9 keys. Compiled by using keys Alt and F9. We have to use Alt F9 simultaneously. After the compilation, the compiler checks for the errors. If the source code is error-free, then the code is converted into the object file with the extension .obj and proceed to the step 3. Now, so the source program is given as an input to the compiler. Next, compiler compiles the program. If the program is error-free, then the code is converted into the object file with the extension .obj. Now this source program, this is the here we have written source program is .cpp. Before the .cpp, here we have written star. In the place of the star, you can write any valid variable name. In the previous program, here we have written The name of the program is add. In the place of the star we have written add.cpp. So here this source program is given as a input to the compiler. Now after that we have to press alt and F9 keys. Okay, then after that, after the compilation, if there is no error in the program, then immediately the compiler generates a file. The file is called .obj file. .obj file. Now here we have given add.cpp. Then immediately the compiler generates here add.obj add.obj file. After that .obj. This add.obj is generated by the compiler. Now look here. Is converted into the object file with the extension .obj and proceed to the step 3. Checking the compiler errors. After the compilation, if the compiler always checks for the errors, if the compiler finds any error, then it will report it. Next step. What is the next step? If the compiler generates errors, then programmer has to go to the step 1 and re-edit the program. Step 1. If the program yes, after the compilation, if the program generates any errors, then programmer must go to the step 1. Step 1 means source program, and he has to remove the errors. Programmer has to remove the errors. Now next step. After re-editing the program, once again programmer has to compile a program by using Alt F9 keys. After the compilation, compiler checks for the errors. If the source code is error-free, then the code is converted into the object file with the extension .obj and proceed to the step 3. Now after that, execution control goes to the step 3. Now step 3. Look at the step 3. Step 3 is linking a C++ program. Linking process is performed by compiler and OS internally. This linking process is performed by compiler and operating system. It is not performed by either programmer or user. Right? Now object program with the extension .obj is given as an input to the linker. This obj is given as a input to the linker, means the linker takes add.obj file as an input. In this example, it takes add.obj as an input. Now next, during the linking, the program is linked with included header files. That is, during the linking, the program is linked with other libraries. Means during the linking process, the program is linked with the header files and libraries. Header files means like iostream.h and conio.h. Now, after the linking, linker checks for the errors. If the source code is error-free, then the code is converted into the executable file with the extension .exe and proceed to the step 4. Now let us see checking for linker errors. During the linking process, the linker error occurs, then the error is reported to the programmer. During the linking process, if the linker error occurs, then error is reported to the programmer or user. Then during the linking process, if the program generates errors, then the programmer has to review the code and he has to repeat the step 1 and step 2. Step 1 and step 2 means, what is the step 1? Step 1 is, once again he must go to the editor and he has to remove the errors, rectify the program, and after that he has to compile the program once again. Means he has to perform the step 1 and step 2. Now next, once again he has to perform the step 1 and step 2. After that he has to re-edit the program and he has to compile the program. After the compilation, if the program does not contain any errors, what happens? Immediately the obj file is given as an input to the linker. linker takes .obj file as an input. Now after the linking, it checks for the errors. If the source code is error free, then code is converted into the executable file and it proceeds to the step 4. Means if there is no linker errors after the linking process, immediately the linker generates a file. The file is called .exe file. In this case, it generates add.exe file. Add.exe file. Right. Add.exe file. Now, next step, fourth step, executing a program. The C++ program can be executed by using keys Control and F9. In order to execute any C++ program, the programmer has to press Control F9 keys simultaneously. During the execution, if the errors are not generated, then output is displayed on the output device. Yes, if during the execution, if the runtime error occurs, then runtime error is reported to the programmer. If the runtime error occurs, what happens? Look here. During the execution, if the runtime error occurs, the error is reported to the programmer. Then then once again, programmers have to review the code and repeat all the above steps. Then programmer must go to the source program, and he has to rectify the code and he has to remove the errors once again. Once again, he has to do the step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 3 is performed by operating system or compiler, and step 4.